Wargaming can be a very isolated hobby. We have our own armies on our own desks that we build in our own time in private, and we paint them in our own way. Case in point, here's a few Black Templars that I decided didn't have to be black. Now, after a few months of people screaming about female custodes, I figured I'd go over the things that I think I do differently, and how not every hobbyist is the same. Here's my wife's living room work situation. It's usually a lot messier than this. She builds all sorts of amazing miniature kits, adding detail, making them her own, and decorating our apartment with them. We're both a little weird. We're miniature people. Not that we're small, we're just miniature people. One day I'm probably going to use all of her buildings and do my own little skirmish game on them. I'm just not going to tell her about it. Especially these. These are my favorite buildings that she's made. They're the perfect scale for my 15mm Marines, and you might see them in a later video, just for fun. And that brings me to these minis. I want to start by saying that she actually suggested I buy them after I showed them to her. They're a gaggle of cyberpunk strippers, surprisingly detailed sculpts, and I'll link them in the bio. I often see a trend in female miniatures. I mean, have you tried buying a tech priest online? It's not fair. I mean, there's tons of female models out there, and these are definitely great sculpts. When I started making this video, I definitely felt like I was gonna do it with an agenda and talk about how female representation, that sort of stuff. But honestly, I found while making it that I struggled to paint most of the miniatures in this video. I've painted a large variety of miniatures with skin tones ranging from pale to tan to green and even blue. I've even painted a fair amount of female models, but only one face so far. Female faces just highlight differently than male faces, and I don't have a lot of practice with them. I honestly just kind of hate painting faces in general. So this is not going to be a video of me painting something very, very well. This is going to be me overcoming obstacles and painting some dope-ass female Space Marines. And if you don't like that, I don't really care. I just want to show you my process, because this channel is nothing but me showcasing my hobby process. I'm going to leave a link to the heads that I showed in the description, because I think these guys fit well. The heads are like perfect for these models, and they're going to fit in well with my little Black Templar force. I wanted to do the Britannia method. Every model has different colors and different heraldry. I wanted everything to be unique. And my name's Chris. I like to paint things, and I wanted to do something different. So this video is going to be me failing at painting a bunch of female models and ending up with 3 pretty sweet Space Marines. Now, I've painted a lot of Black Templars, so I have my method down pretty well. I start with a gray primer because I need to have some areas able to paint red and white very easily, and then I go over most of the armor in just black. I kind of like the finish of this matte black rather than spray painting them black. I know it feels like the long way around, but the very first Black Templars I painted, I just, spray painted black and tried to dry brush them blue. It didn't go well. If you know me and you've been following me, you know that I'm a big fan of edge highlighting. I kind of prefer it over the boring base coats and stuff, which is why I like to paint Black Templars like over time. I can't paint a bunch in a row. 3 is kind of like the most power armors I can do at any given moment. The biggest thing that I've learned in doing this is that edge highlights can do a lot of work, and that titanium white from Monument Hobbies, the Pro Acryl line, is phenomenal. It's the best white that I have used thus far, though I'm hearing really good things about the Army Painter Fanatic whites. This stuff can get a little chalky if you dilute it, so you gotta get your, the amount of paint on the brush perfect. But it covers gray super well. It can cover black, but I don't want to do all that. I decided these guys are gonna be yellow too, and Black Templars in the art are very, very nice yellow, especially doing grimdark, but I like the black and red kind of more modern look of Black Templar. But I figured let's make them look even more different. We're gonna make their guns yellow because yellow guns is cool, and I wanted to. I don't know, man. This is an exercise in doing whatever the heck you want. If there's anything I want you to take away from my channel, it's that I am the biggest proponent of doing whatever the heck you want. Best way to paint yellow is to do a yellow with good coverage if it's not the color you want, and then go over it with the yellow you actually want. I did that, and then we did a bunch of details that I didn't feel like showing you. If you do want a video in depth of me painting Black Templars, maybe I'll make a YouTube short about it. I do have one in the tank that you'll see in this video. if you do want to see me paint Black Templars and you want an in-depth guide on how I did this, I do have one in the tank that you can probably see in the background. It's a lot of base coating and then edge highlighting with a really, really nice trio that I found online of colors. But honestly, you could probably plop those on the table like this and they'd look fine. Citadel Dark Reaper and then Citadel Thunderhawk Blue are excellent for highlighting black armor if you want a bluish black. And then I use this Leather White, which is kind of a blue-gray, for the major highlights. I think those guys look pretty good, don't you? Or girls. I mean, they're going to be girls at some point. Black Templars are really fun. Like I said, I love edge highlighting. They're very, very good models to do, and I don't do a lot of Space Marines. So every time I do, I enjoy the process. I swear that wasn't me. Now onto the heads. This is the part we've all been waiting for. These are a bunch of female heads that I got on Etsy. They are made for Sisters of Battle for sure, but they're honestly pretty much the same scale for Space Marines. I had requested the 3D printer give me some large and small options because I assumed I needed large heads to fit these bodies. As you'll see in a moment, as kind of unnecessary. This is the first thing that I did wrong. If we want to keep score, this is number one first thing Chris messed up on. I decided to take all 5 heads and I was going to paint all 5 of them and then put down the ones that I wanted and that, you know, that came out the best. And I have never had issues spray priming before, but holy crap did I ruin these. I guess I didn't shake the can enough. Ignore my wounded hand, but yeah, it's not going to work. When I put them on, I think they were way too big anyway, so we're not going to worry about that. If anything, I could use them for practicing. When we compare these to a regular Space Marine head, by God, these heads are gigantic. So the original sized heads are probably going to be just fine. If anything, they'll look in scale. And I think those are going to look super, super rad. So, well, we're down 5 heads. I can maybe make them work or use them as statues, maybe? Probably statues. I don't know. We'll figure it out. I did clean them up so that I could try and practice on them, and if anything, I'm sure I made them worse. Statues it is. If you got any cool, if you want me to make some stone statue warriors, I'll try and do it. Let me know if that's something you'd be into. Probably not. It sounds kind of boring. So like I said, I've done a lot of skin tone before. Die, loyalist scum! The very, very first video I did was on these cultists, and they all have very nice, varied skin tone. This is the only female face I've ever painted. She's fine. I'm very, very comfortable painting green skin of various types of green skin, and I'll show you how I do that at some point. And I've even painted a lot of blue skin. Actually, the best skin tone I think I've ever painted was this Tau Ethereal.
The Empire relies upon me.
I've never painted lady skin. That's a weird phrase, lady skin. We're gonna try out these different skin tones that I bought, because I've been trying to buy different skin paints, skin colored paints, not paints made of skin, to try and find like good recipes. And skin's interesting because you don't want everyone to be the exact same skin tone, because it makes no sense, right? So I struggled to even videotape myself doing this, so that's, I guess you could call it mistake number 2, because boy, they're small and the camera doesn't want to focus on tiny little, you know, gray blobs. I'm not sure. But I base coated all 3 of these heads in a different skin base coat, just to kind of get all 3 of them to have a, you know, end up at different tones. This is the first time I think I've ever actually painted a head separate from the body. I'm not a big sub-assemblies guy, for better or for worse. And then, I don't know, I just tried to highlight them by slowly mixing in some lighter skin tones. And I feel like on male miniatures, this is very easy, because you just get the really hard shoulders and the eyebrows, but on these like female faces, the only solid line is on their nose, and suddenly having one highlight a little bit more than the others, just, I don't know. I've been watching a few videos since doing this, and I can link a couple good ones. It seems the best way to highlight female skin is top to bottom, whereas men, it's better horizontally because of the way the light hits. I don't know. I went back and forth a lot. This is not a how-to, as I said at the beginning. This is a how I attempted to do. But I gave them cool red mohawks so they'd tie in with the color scheme. And then I hit them with some flesh washes. This flesh wash from Vallejo is a phenomenal color. Would recommend it. I've used it for not flesh. I even use it for yellow in a video that I got coming up. I haven't released anything in a long time, but I got a few videos in the old pipeline, don't you worry. So they should be rapid firing. That was me snapping my fingers. It's really, really easy to see this over a more Caucasian skin tone because it adds like a nice rosiness to it. Whereas I think over darker skin tones, you kind of want purple shadows instead of like red rosy shadows. Regardless, this face was starting to come along good, and then I figured we needed to highlight it even more, and guess what? I ruined it again. I'm gonna try horizontal highlighting next time. I don't know how to do that, but I'm gonna try it. It doesn't look terrible, but for a video that was meant to be about painting female faces, this is a very lackluster presentation. So I figured if I highlight the hair very well, I can kind of get away with the faces being covered. If anything, the overhead shadows and stuff of the faces are going to work out in our favor. And you'll see at the end they do. By highlighting the hair, we draw the attention to the nice hair and kind of away from the faces themselves. So they just look like the shadow of war or something over them. I did try and accentuate that by putting wash in places where it probably didn't belong. I don't know, man. I don't know how much time I can just ramble about not being good at painting faces. You get the gist of that right now, correct? It looks fine. It's passable. After those faces dried, perfect time to connect them to the bodies, right? I don't hate it. I don't love them, but gosh, they're not great. That being said, this is kind of where I think the magic happened that made me... I almost scrapped this video, I'm not gonna lie. But the second I did this, I knew I was onto something. Because man, that looks badass. The hair waving in the direction she's pointing, like the fire, I don't know. The motion that the heads created in the miniatures, I think makes them look awesome. The yellow guns are dope too. I don't plan on repainting my Black Templar to yellow guns, but I'm thinking about it.
I'm here in the wilderness, asking you to like, comment, and subscribe. That's about it. I got a lot of fun videos coming. Nature. Still nature. Pretty sure it's gonna rain soon. So if you could subscribe before that happens, that'd be great. Okay, bye.
Now remember when I said I kind of got into this video, I think with an agenda? This is the section of the video that I originally edited, probably to showcase that. Because I wanted to paint one of these stripper models, and I tried to paint a few of them, and I ended up melting all of them. It's hard to tell here, but this resin did not like being stripped very well after I messed them up. Yeah, I kind of destroyed a few of these, and as my desk looked like a serial killer's playground. Oh god. Yeah, it's not a great look. This isopropyl and whatever resin they printed these minis in, ignore all that. But I was gonna paint this girl. I think she's pretty cool. She's pretty safe for painting on YouTube, and she's a lot smaller than the Space Marines. The head's about the same size, which I think is kind of funny. I figured I would just start with like a paint scheme in mind and just figure it out. I was gonna do white and blue for the clothing, pink for like accent colors, and then do, you know, flesh color, and then some brown for everything else. The best way to do that, obviously, is start with some darker versions of those colors that are better for base coating, and that's kind of what I do here. Now, I wanted to do a very vibrant paint job, so for some reason, to do a vibrant paint job, I figured I'd start dark and then work up into extreme highlights, because that's kind of the best way to get that contrast. The final product, I think you'll see what I tried to do and why it didn't work whatsoever. That being said, Cantor Blue from Citadel is one of my favorite blues and is the best blue I know for base coating. It looks great with skin tone, and it looks great with very warm colors, you know, against it. Very light, warm colors like skin, like white. And then I went white stockings. I should have brought my wife in to criticize this paint job, because her very first criticism of this is the white stockings, because she says, and I quote, "You never see a stripper wearing white stockings." And she's probably not wrong. This is the future, so maybe that's what's in now, but probably not. I don't think it looks very good. And then I just gave her some basic base coats of brown for like the leather. Wasted a bunch of my auburn shadow angrily. Gosh, I was so angry. And then we did some pink for, you know, the shoes and a couple accent pieces. Now, why am I telling you all this? Because one, like I said, I went into this wanting to showcase painting different types of miniatures, I guess. Maybe I wanted to practice. I'm not sure. I just wanted to paint some sexy female minis and see what happens. And I learned I'm not good at it. There's a lot of really, really good miniature painters out there. Boy, I'm not even good at filming it. Look at this. This is dreadful, Chris. What are you doing? There's a lot of really good miniature painters out there. There's some unbelievable artists out there. And they are all better and have a lot more patience than me. And they just know, you know, color theory and control and everything. I'm going to showcase some really, really nice miniatures at the end of this to show and prove my new point, which is that I don't know what I'm doing. I don't even know how to make a vibrant paint job. I slapped this whole model in soft tone and didn't think somehow that would make it really dark and cruddy and gross. It works on Space Marines and soldiers, but like, it's not supposed to work on a girl in a bar unless you really want to make a seedy bar. And then I panicked and I threw on some black wash, and that made it look like a cartoon, but it didn't look any better, and it also made it look a lot darker. And then I panicked even more, and I started blending all those washes together because I was really worried it looked bad, and I even started lifting up some paint. So this isn't even mistake like 4. This is like mistakes like 4 through 10. This is all bad. Don't ever do this. And then I panicked and I left her overnight to dry because I knew it was going to be bad. And I was pretty much right. It's probably serviceable if you want to just drop her on the table, but like, God, it was not the thing I was hoping for. So I figured, you know what? I've done this for a while. I've been painting like 4 years now, regularly. I know how to fix this. All you do is take your base coat colors and just start glazing up some highlights. Blue is an easy color to glaze highlights. All you do is take a light blue, slowly mix in an ivory or an off-white, and just bring up those colors on the most prominent parts of the model. Now you can see here the most prominent parts of the model in full view, which is exactly how she makes her tips. So, you know, throw the girl a couple bucks. Geez, she's working hard. She's got 2 trays going on. So I did that, and I love, you know, glazing and painting blue. I think I enjoy this again more than base coating. Base coating sucks. Glazing and layering and edge highlighting, that's where I enjoy painting. I figured I can save this if I know what I'm doing. So I gave her a couple like edge highlights, a couple, you know, almost cloth textured glazes on her shoulders and anywhere that mattered to catch the eye and frame the model a little bit better. Because it's got a really, really good silhouette, but the shading I did on it just ruined everything. And then I did something I don't normally do, and I gave the entire thing a really watered down glaze. I almost used that oceanic blue with some medium and made like an old school Citadel glaze color just to knock everything back and blend those together. Then for the white, I figured I need to just get it back up to white because it's very, very dark gray now. So I did some sketchy, you know, fabric looking highlights on the legs, and I don't know, man. I didn't really know what to do. I pretty much ended up rebase coating the legs, but leaving very, very small, subtle shadows in there, to the point where now they almost look like she broke both her legs and she's wearing 2 casts. And then we took a great color squid pink, and we, same thing, mixed it up with a little bit of ivory to create some highlights. And this was actually something I learned doing this was pink highlights very well. It's not like red where you turn it into pink on accident. Pink is a really nice color to highlight because you don't need a lot of those shadows to remain. And because it's thin, you can kind of not even glaze it. I don't know. It just highlighted very well. Squid pink is an essential color for picking up. Genuinely. I think I got it from Midwinter Minis. Use a squid pink all the time. I would recommend. And then I had to add some shading back in. I did some gray shading to those leggings just to like make them not fully white, really thin down so that I didn't dilute the model. I'm not learning a lot of lessons, clearly. Now it was time to highlight the skin, and if you remember from the first half of the video, I'm not very good at that. The best skin tone I think I've ever done, and the best female face, was on this Shotzi miniature I made at the beginning of the year. I want to try and recreate that magic, but I'm not sure how. That was definitely 6 or 7 passes back and forth to get that face correct. And I didn't think I was gonna, honestly, I didn't think I was gonna spend that much time on this miniature. I really didn't. I liked her. I thought she was a cool model. But I really should have spent all the time and energy I put into making this model look good into making those female Space Marines look awesome. Because I don't know that I'll ever take this model out. I gotta give her rules for something now because I spent so much time working on her, or I'm just gonna shove her in the drawer and never talk about her ever again. I think I'm making this video take so long and showing me paint her so much just so that you all have to be tortured just as much as I was trying to paint this. I don't know that painting females like realistically is a skill I even want in my arsenal. I think I'd rather be really good at painting some, you know, weathered metallics or, you know, stone, something I'm going to use a lot. Not because I don't paint female miniatures, but because I think I just want to avoid painting faces. Yeah, dude. This is bad. I have no more words. I'm rambling.
Chemicals, man. They'll fuck you up.
Time for our last mistake. Not the last one I'll ever make, but another one. She needed a base. I was gonna make that club base like in the picture I showed you of like a cool grid. I thought it'd be a fun effect to try. So I clipped her from her base and then filed that flat. And then I went outside and spray primed it white so that I could use like contrast paints for that glow. I also took a Sharpie for some reason. I think it's the only thing I had around, and tried to make squares. Whew. I was also really impatient, and I wanted to get this video done because I haven't released a video in a while. I don't know if you noticed. I really wanted to get it done, and I think in my wanting to get it done, I made it take so much longer than it should have. I literally spray primed this, and then a half hour later I came in and painted it. The contrast paint I thought would give it like a cool translucent effect and work really well with the white primer. I don't know. There's zero thought put into this. I just want it to look like it glowed. And if you don't let spray primer cure, contrast paint doesn't react very well. Could be useful for something, but not this. So I did it off camera, and it's fine. And that's it, folks. That's me messing up several times on painting female miniatures. Like I said, I went into this video with an agenda, and I'm kind of glad I decided to go away from that agenda. Maybe if I was phenomenal at painting, you know, skin tones and female bodies and male bodies, if I was good at painting that stuff, I could probably say more. I don't care about the lore of 40K. I know it sounds like blasphemous, but I just don't, you know. The lore is what I make it. It's a framework for a space that I can play games in, and this cyberpunk lady isn't even in any of those. The Space Marines, I think they're badass. Any of the models in the Space Marine army can be women, obviously. They literally don't have fucking their heads out. I have one with a dude's face just to show that, you know, my army's got everything. I'm saying a lot because this video took a long time. It's been a long time since I made anything. I've been busy and I'm making excuses. But I really, at the end of it, I almost scrapped the whole thing. And I only didn't because this whole YouTube channel thing is just to showcase like what I do month to month to month and what I'm in the mood to paint and build. And I was in the mood for female Space Marines. I don't know. That being said, if you want to help continue the journey with me, like, comment, subscribe, do all of those fun things. Let me know if you have any really, really aggressive comments or if you have any fun comments. I don't really care. We'll see how it goes. Miniatures are fake, man. They're just little plastic toys that I enjoy painting, and I hardly play any games, so what does that mean? It doesn't mean anything. It just means I built 3 cool models, and I built 1 model that was really, really, really bad. If you want to see more of that, or you like any of that, we'll see you next time. Have a good one. Take it easy.